Hello, everyone. Welcome to Midway Gaming. I'm Nick on the other side of the comms, of course. Justin providing audio, gameplay, and his own brand of commentary wherever he sees fit. So, the summer carries on, and with that, more things around Summer Games Fest. My earlier comment in my previous videos about Summer Games Fest having started was kind of inaccurate because Summer Games Fest happened a week or two later. So, oops, sorry. My calendar might be a bit off there. I have to correct that. But, anyways. But just because Summer Games Fest hasn't started, or has already ended, or whatever, doesn't mean the big companies won't use this as an excellent time to debut their portfolio. And next up on the list is Xbox, and boy oh boy, I'll give Xbox credit. Call them what you will, but they know how to put on a good show. Weird, wacky, and incredibly strange. Because life is strange. That's one of the games. That we won't talk about. Sorry. It was in the showcase, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the Life is Strange series. Never really clicked for me. I'm sure people are into it, and it
It,
looks like
it,
an
it
interesting
was
series,
it was a
but
very niche game series. It was good in certain
it's a cult
regards,
classic, I
but
would say.
yeah,
It's less niche and more of a cult classic. It
like
has
it,
its
it's
followers, but I
it's
don't know.
got a group of people who follow it and for good reason, but it's one of
Not
those
our
games
thing here at the
that's
channel.
not everyone's. Yeah.
That said, though, I will say that, again, they have quite the interesting lineup. Starting with, and for record, we won't. Well, before we to get into this, number one, we won't be covering everything they covered in the showcase. We have a link to description to Game Rant. Is it Game Rant? No, it's not Game Rant. It's GameSpot. GameSpot has the full coverage of their thing on their channel. And we have that link down in the description. So if you want to go see the full thing, go check that out. They've got like a full hour and 17 minutes or something like that. So for the sake of brevity, we won't be covering everything. We'll just be covering the highlights of what we think is interesting and a few side bits here and there. Also, weird thing to point out. Well, no, before we point that out, other weird thing, we won't go into too much about the dates, and that is not because we don't want to. Trust me, there are some games here I'd really like to know the dates about myself. But typical of the games industry, as an old petty
No.
officer myself once used to say, you can't be accused of breaking promises if you never made them to begin with. And so in this case, they basically did that by not really giving us any release dates.
They have
Sometimes they
provided
don't even say them at all.
a
They
lot.
give us a year and that's it.
A lot of them have provided nothing.
Yeah. In the case of the Metal Gear Solid game, they don't tell you anything. They just say it exists. Moving on. They don't even give you a year. So if we just give you a year or something like that, just know that that's the most recent information we've gotten. Maybe there's a leak or something that's like telling you a more specific date, but again, from the showcase, this is what we've got, so we're working with that. Also, weird note: 3 of these games had their audio claimed for copyright reasons, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But anyways, let's begin. So, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 opened up the show, and a new COD game. We all know Activision Blizzard is now owned by Microsoft. Call it what you will, they're the ones running the show now. I don't know. I haven't really played many of the Call of Duty games. I played Infinite Warfare, which yes, I know the crappy one. But I've also played other ones like Cold War and stuff like that. Not really much of a not much of a COD fan. Not gonna lie. But I do respect the shooter genre. I play freaking Destiny after all. So I will say that it looks interesting. It's set, ironically, interestingly enough, after the events of Cold War, and there's actually, I think, one of the characters from Cold War in this game.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting to see what happens.
There
A
is a
lot of weird stuff
definitive
happens.
ending.
There was 2 definitive endings, depending on what
Yes,
happened.
but
Both resulted in you
technically,
dying. Well, no, only one.
no, yeah, only one. But
The
technically
good
now
ending,
there's only
surprisingly.
one definitive ending.
Yeah, no. So we will see. That'll, like I said, be interesting. I won't play it. Like I said, not much of a COD fan, but whoever plays COD, good luck to you, I suppose. More of the same, probably. But you never know. COD can do some weird and wacky things with their stories. It touches on the more political intrigue of the U.S. government because, let's be honest, they do some sketchy shit. But yeah, moving on. Doom, Dark Age. Oh boy. Speaking of prequels and sequels, Doom Dark Age. This one is interesting because it's actually a prequel to the 2016 Doom, where we see Doom Guy wake up. And this one actually takes place during his time on, I was going to say like Tir Lannog, but I know that's like some place in Scotland for the fairies, so that's not it. But it's, Doom Guy when he was still like in the race of space
Well, it's
jacked
about damn
dudes
time.
who
What
fought
took you?
demons and
Oh,
also secretly served demons, so that'll be interesting.
I've been in the Reaper's
But we get a
shadow for
shield,
a
and we
long
get a
time,
dragon,
and
so
I
that's
thought he
cool.
finally showed up to
And it's
collect.
Doom,
He's
which
just
means I get to
monkeying around.
perform very unholy acts on demons, and they are unholy, so that's
There's a
justified.
twitch in my trigger
but
finger. I've lost my
yeah,
eagle
that'll be interesting to
eyes, and
see.
the other day I
That
could've
one's
sworn
coming
I heard
out
Sergeant Dornan chewing me out.
2025. Again, no
I'm
date
old
provided.
and I'm starting to
Black
feel
Ops 2, as we mentioned, however,
It's
did
not
have a date
pleasant,
this year on the
especially when you know your
25th of
mind's
October,
slipping away.
so look up for that.
And we all gotta go somewhere.
Next on the list we'll be
But I
talking
was
about is
hoping for
Dragon
something a
Age
little more
Veilguard.
heroic.
Oh boy, this one is interesting. This one has been knocked around the BioWare offices for a
It was
while
a
now.
long time ago.
BioWare
Things
announced
were
the
better back then.
Veilguard a while ago. It was
He was
like,
a
I think
drill
like
instructor I knew.
several years ago at this point.
He
I don't
was
remember the
also
exact year,
the
but
meanest bastard I've ever known.
and this is to technically be
Once he
a
caught
direct
this
follow-up to
private out
Inquisition,
of
not
uniform,
canonically, but like
and
in
old Dornan went
sequel-wise.
off on the most
Characters will be
ear-bristling
going.
rant
Solus
known
is
to
now the
man.
villain
It
because
was
he was
inspiring.
actually secretly a god the whole time. Kind of weird how one of the companions
What
you
do you
just
wanna
kind of
know?
have with you throughout the story turns out to be a god and also the villain of the next game.
Don't worry about it. We
Don't worry about it.
We casually do a little bit of manipulation of the universe.
And yeah, that's definitely going to be probably a plot point. I played Inquisition. I really liked it. Depending on who you are, you might say they liked it or not. I've heard that it's the greatest game. I've heard it's the worst game. I
I'm not
personally
saying
really liked
it's
Inquisition.
part of my
And I'll be
mystique,
looking forward to
after all.
Veilguard when it comes out. This one, I believe, also has a... No, it doesn't.
The truth
It
of
does
is,
have
they
a
did cut out
launch
Raven's
window
heart,
this year
but
in
only to
fall,
like to mess
so
with his buddies.
that's
They had me
decent, I
surrounded,
guess.
and I went
There
with
is
the
a full
first thing
gameplay
that came
trailer
to
that
mind.
released, but we did
Some
not see that
ran,
in the
and the rest
showcase,
were
but you can look it up
startled just long
online.
enough.
The cinematic, however, was really good.
Sure
Starfield
do.
Shattered Space is
Got a
next
wife
on the
and a
list.
daughter.
Oh boy.
Tribal girl.
I
After
must
the
say it for what
interest-
it is. Bethesda's
She's been
going
gone
for
a
their
long time.
DLCs, and they're starting to knock it with Starfield. So
Here's what I'm gonna say. When Starfield did come out the first time, everyone thought it was
ain't
going to be
like
the
I
next
got
big thing.
places to be.
Xbox thought it was going to be the next thing. I think we actually have Phil Spencer on the record saying that they thought it was going to be the next
You
Skyrim,
sing
or
it.
at least someone at the big Xbox studios were
Maybe.
saying that. So one of the big executives, maybe it might have been Phil, but I don't know. But yeah, so they thought it was going to be the next Skyrim. It wasn't. It was good. Don't get me wrong. I have the collector's edition. I played the game, not fully because it's a Bethesda game. I don't think fully is ever truly achievable with a Bethesda game, but it's a good game. Like I said, I don't know if it really lends itself well to the genre they're pushing it with, though.
yeah, it's
But that's
it's
a whole video
very
in and of itself.
horror-esque.
It's not really.
Like,
It's more
it-
space.
Like it's
It's more space
mystery.
exploration.
Yeah, like
It's more. It's more space exploration. Kind of like. Think about finding Atlantis, but Atlantis is a space station with, or not space station, civilization and yada yada yada, and like ancient civilization stuff like that. Real
yeah, and
interesting
it's like
stuff because
something you're not supposed to be here type of vibe.
yeah, if memory serves, in the Starfield universe, Earth is, and it's interesting because you can actually go to Earth and see everything's dead. Dogs are extinct, which is sad, as are cats, also sad. But
as in pretty much everything.
as is pretty much everything, yes. But humanity has colonized the stars and gone looking for things and yada yada yada. In the Starfield universe, however, as far as I can tell, there are no aliens, but they're looking for aliens, at least, the intelligent breed. And this kind of artifact leads you to the idea that, yes, they are somewhere, go look for them. And that was the plot of the first game. I don't know how, like I said, it played out because I didn't finish it because it's bloody Bethesda. But in Shattered Space, yeah, so we're gonna do some Alien with our game now. We're gonna do some Alien Isolation nonsense mixed with a bit of Prey for flavor. Yeah, basically Shattered Space looks like you're dealing with a crazy space cult, which also may or may not have to do with ancient aliens and space stations.
It
and
seriously looks like a weird.
It's horror.
It like that goes into the horror part of that one said, but no, it looks like a really strange mix between take the Taken from Destiny and the things from Prey. It looks like this weird mix.
It does. Looks like the winnower got his hands on the frickin' the prey creatures and was like,
I forget what they were called, but it was something.
The winnower got its hands on the prey creatures and was just like, I can work with this, and just created these things. They are freaky looking, not gonna lie, and like I said, there's some weird cult nonsense going on, and when I hear we after the whole business with the Witness, I think Witness, but that's not the Witness. Be kind of funny though. Kind of funny to run into Witness in Starfield, not gonna lie. But But yeah, so that's the thing. I'll probably pick up the DLC if I don't already have it with the collector's edition. It might come in this. It might come in our collector's. Not checking yet, but yeah, that'll be something to look forward to. That does. Let me see. Where did my notes say? 2024 also, but we don't know when. That said, they did put new stuff in the game right after the showcase. Free stuff, mind you. New location, new weapons, new quests, something like that. So there's stuff to do even while you wait. Honestly, if they want to be cheeky, they could always put this near Halloween. They did that with a few games on this list, but we'll get to that. But anyways, yeah, Starfield, Shattered Space. Look for it this year, sometime. We don't know. Freaky deaky horror shit. But anyways, speaking of freaky deaky horror stuff, Fallout 76. It got something.
Yes.
That's what my notes say. It got something.
Something has been added.
It got a new map expansion, technically. The DLC. It's Skyland Valley, and you get to play as a ghoul in this thing. Apparently, that's a thing now.
Well, yeah,
New
I
map,
think
new story, new weapons. Yada yada.
I think it's a character creation option. I don't know.
Is it?
I don't.
Possibly,
I don't know for
possibly.
sure. I'd have to look, but it's either a character creation option. Like when you go to make a new character, you can select to be like either in the vault or out of the vault, maybe something along those lines. I don't know. Or it's you leave the vault and then you can turn yourself into a ghoul if you want or something. Who knows?
See. I have Fallout 76. I don't play it. Probably will never, but you never know. It's
people can live their fantasies and no longer need mods. They can play as a ghoul.
Yes. Oh, speaking of mods, I forgot to mention with the Starfield one, they added the creation shop by the by.
Oh, the creation club. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. That we have now of a Starfield creation club. Go nuts, make your Death Stars, make your Star Destroyers. God help us all. So moving on. I want to say talk about Expedition. What do you think I should talk about Expedition 33?
That one didn't really draw my attention.
Oh,
so
before we move on too far, Fallout 76. I keep forgetting to tell you the dates for what we do have. This one actually, actually I think. Oh no, never mind. This actually came out yesterday. So the new expansion for 76 came out yesterday. So if you're hearing this, you're probably already playing it. If you do play 76, so have fun playing as a ghoul in the Skyline. Skyline, doing whatever people do in the post-apocalypse. I don't know. Kill people, I guess, but
survive.
But anyways,
no, survive.
Survive.
Something.
Not
Don't
survive.
something.
Shoot something. Don't shoot something. It's a roll of the dice, really. But anyways, Expedition 33. Sure, I'll mention it. My notes literally say surreal stuff, Victorian era stuff. It's this one comes out in 2025. Like I said, we don't have any concrete dates for a lot of this stuff. It's weird. It looks like a weird mixture of Bayonetta, if I remember my gameplay fighting styles correctly, and Final Fantasy, or maybe Persona. I'm seeing there maybe instead of Final Fantasy and Persona. I don't know. It looks very interesting. Plot from what we can tell from the trailer is that every year this mysterious godlike painter person paints a number, and every year the number gets painted one down, and everyone of the age of that number and above just Thanos snaps out of existence, apparently. And the number is now down to 33, so everyone above the age of 33 is dead. So, And the expedition is to find the painter and put a stop to them so they can't paint more numbers to ruin the world by slow depopulation. Yeah, that's about the lore we have. It looks interesting. Like I said, real interesting. Surreal, not gonna lie. My notes say surreal, and it is surreal watching that trailer. That's all I'm gonna say. Moving on. 2025, that's all we know. Oh, this one's gonna be fun. South of Midnight, Talking Bayou Fish. I love this one. I literally looked at this and was like, hey, what's this? But I'm definitely gonna be checking this one out. Don't have too much on this one. Just I legitimately thought, not gonna lie, when I was looking at this, that I was watching a like cutscene or one of the like cinematics that you see prepared for trailers and stuff like that. I legitimately did. And then it just blended seamlessly into gameplay. And I'm like, holy shit, this is not a cinematic. This is like a cutscene in the game, and they look really stylized to the point where I legitimately thought, like I said, I was watching like a pre-rendered trailer. I think this was like one of the first ones to actually show you legitimate like full-on gameplay and not just like either snippets or something. Expedition kind of did that, but
I
most of the
think
games,
no,
they kind of been
didn't
bad. Hit or miss,
Starfield?
hit or
No,
miss.
I'm pretty sure Starfield also was had some gameplay.
It did, but yeah, they all kind of did snippets though. This is the only one that showed you like an actual like full mission area, and not like snippet here, snippet there, snippet here, kind of like shock value stuff. I think that's what I was kind of going for in my notes anyway. It's the only one to actually sit you down and go, here is part of a level. And it looks really cool, not gonna lie. Main character has some weird magic stuff, which, if there's voodoo in here, I wouldn't be surprised. Just a thought. I don't know. Just a suggestion. South of Midnight. It's just making inferences here. Looks really fun, though. 2025 with this one, again, that's all we really know. We're going to see that as a running trend. World of Warcraft also got something. Not going to cover this one too much in depth because I don't really play much World of Warcraft, if at all. I don't play at all, actually. But I respect it for what it is. It was the great grandfather of all MMOs, so gotta give credit where credit's due, right?
Yeah.
This one is The War Within, which, as a Warframe player, feels really weird to be saying that out of Warframe context.
Yeah, the trailer for it seemed to be like very verging towards like this is the finale, and that's something that was said in it. So
Right, I heard the World of Warcraft people aren't too happy. Maybe this has to do with that. I don't know. Maybe the game's ending?
I mean,
be
when
kinda
you
sad,
think
actually, not gonna
about
lie.
it kind of makes sense because it's been kind of in this weird state where like there's a few things that haven't been closed off for a while, and it doesn't seem like
And I mean, it kind of
anything
goes to
new
like
is
all
gonna
the
be
splash
coming.
art for like all the expansions and stuff like that. Like, like I saw like pits where it's like, oh, I remember that scene. That's a splash art for this box or that expansion. So maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, War Within, which like I said feels really weird to be saying that outside of a Warframe context as a Warframe player. This one does have a concrete date, August 26th, 2024, this year. So didn't see that coming. Literally what my notes say. Yeah, maybe like I said, the World of Warcraft community is upset about this. I wouldn't put it past them. It would be genuinely sad to see the great grandfather finally pass away. But hey, old age takes us all eventually, right? But anyways, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Dang, that's what my notes say. This one's weird. This one is the only one in the entire show to not actually have a date at all. It just shows you the thing, bits of gameplay, and then is like, bye. Like, it exists still, goodbye. There is literally no mention of Kojima on the cover at all. It's clear that freaking Konami is still sore over that, which, Again, no
What's
date
up?
given. Looks really cool. We'll see what a reboot of the very first
thought
Metal
my
Gear
charm
game
could win
actually
the-
feels like without Konami. I am curious to. Well, I don't think it's actually their very first game. The Metal Gear timeline is weird. But then again, it was made by Kojima,
Yeah,
so
it's
what do you expect?
it's very weird how like it kind of feels like they're doing a reboot, but to what extent? Because mind you, I don't think any of the Metal Gear games have had Snake in like the early games. Like this feels like this is like Snake's very first official mission.
It was his first initial mission, I believe, canonically. And there was, like I said, I think that was the first game. I don't know. A lot of conspiracies came into this. Like, he ends the trailer by literally saying, like, virtuous mission begins or something like that. And there was, like, a conspiracy where, like, back in the original, he actually said virtual mission at one point. And people possibly thought that that was hints towards a conspiracy that took place in the universe and yada, yada, yada. Like I said, Metal Gear can be a deep, dark pit that you don't crawl out from unless you got a really good shovel and a good torch. So, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I'll be interested to see how it plays out. I might play it. I might not. We'll see. Again, no date given, so it could come out this year. It could come out 20 years from now. It's Kojima and it's Konami. Well, Kojima's not part of it anymore, but it is Konami, so Anyways,
It's hard to tell for 100% certainty.
yep. Sea of Thieves, season 13, not going to cover that. It's just the new season, big warship. Looks fun. Flameheart's coming back. Again. Maybe he'll stay back this time. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. My goodness, that is a long name. All I'm gonna say is, looks really like Forspoken 2.0. Not gonna lie, it really does. Let's hope it doesn't have the story flaws of Forspoken, and all will be well. This one we do have an official date for is July 18th, 2024, whereas Sea of Thieves Season 13 has July 25th. So both coming out in the same month, a few days away from each other.
There you go.
Here's one that I've been kind of interested to see. Age of Mythology Retold. Oh boy, I've got a lot of history with the Age of series. Age of Mythology was one of my favorites back in the DS days. I played the bleeping hell out of it. And now they're having a Mythologies Retold. So basically a remaster, remake kind of thing of the Mythology game. Which is basically Age of Empires, but now you've got gods. So, giant summonables? Eh? With beautiful crispy graphics. So I'm gonna love to see where that goes. This one also has an official date, September 4th, 2024. So keep an eye out for that if you're an Age of fan. And if you're an Age of Mythology fan like me, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'll probably play it. Maybe. We'll see. My library is pretty packed and my money's pretty dry at the moment, so we'll see.
We will see where it goes.
That brings us to 14 on the list. Perfect Dark. Ah, boy. This one's weird. I legitimately had to look it up in the Afterim when I thought the name sounded familiar. It originally was a game from the early 2000s, from the N64 era. Yeah, it looks like they're making a remake. So, I will say this: when I saw the gameplay, it literally very much felt Mirror's Edgy to me. Maybe it was the futuristic city. Maybe it was the glass. Maybe it was just the tech. I don't know. Take like Mirror's Edge and Deus Ex Mankind Divided or something like that and stick them together. That feels like the aesthetic for this game. It really does. And it looks interesting. Don't get me wrong. The modern tech of the time that we're kind of in right now with consoles really helps a futuristic game like this shine because you get all the funky little gadgets that can actually look really good compared to like the N64 era where they would probably just look like a pixel block on a screen, which might have been impressive at the time, but yeah. But anyways,
Yes.
we'll see. Made by the guys who actually made Marvel's Avengers, weirdly enough, as well as the Tomb Raider games and Legacy of Kain. So, bit of a mixed bag when it comes to heritage from this studio. So we'll see. That brings us to I don't believe we have a date for that. Sorry about that if you're expecting a date. I haven't written it down, or we don't have it, or both. Let me check my notes here. Nope, I don't think we have a date. Sorry about that. That moves us to the next one on our list. Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. What do I say about this?
What is there to say?
What is there to... It's a Diablo expansion, my guys. We all know it. I play Diablo, you play Diablo. If you play Diablo, you know what to expect. More of demons doing demony things. Honestly, the trailer was pretty gnarly, not gonna lie. It was pretty... really leaned onto the horror side of things, so to speak, and not surprising, it's demons we're dealing with here. Modern graphics can really help accentuate it.
A lot of gory-based stuff and effects with the weird demon-connected thing going on with the character, but besides that's just that's been kind of Diablo's thing and all that to begin with for the longest of time.
It reminds me of like the point in the story where like a character had like the shard of Diablo's soul stuck into their head and Diablo was slowly possessing them. Only small problem now is that Diablo is dead, last I checked. And his soul stone is kaput. So
except the soul stone was kind of mentioned in this. So that's an interesting
That's a different one.
Ah.
It's weird. The Diablo storyline has an interesting storyline. I could recount it all, but I can't because even I don't remember it all. But that's coming from a lore nerd. But then again, I don't really study too much of the Diablo storyline, so any lore scholars of the Diablo, feel free to enlighten Justin in the comment section on my behalf. You have my permission. So, but yeah, really interesting. Adds a new area. New region, looks tropical based, which is going to be interesting for Diablo 4 because Diablo 4 has a more like mountainy kind of like like almost hit not like upper like what's the word I'm looking for here? Northern aesthetic to it. It's like it's very cold all the time. I haven't gone to like the southern parts of the map, so maybe there is some tropical-y stuff there I've missed, but I don't know. New class as well, so that'll be interesting. New storyline, definitely new items and weapons and demons to kill as a result. Which, on the topic of demons, what demon lord are we on now? Lilith is dead, Diablo's dead. What demon lord are we on at this point? I don't remember. What lord of hell are we on? I don't remember.
We are
But yeah,
on
this looks
Lord
interesting.
2,500 and something.
I mean, there's only like what 3 or 4 of them. Diablo was one of them, so
Yeah, Diablo was one of like 3, I think.
yeah, one of 3. It
I
was
mean,
like the
let's be honest here,
hatred,
the
destruction, and one other one.
Actually, no, it might be 4 then, because there's
Maybe.
War, Pestilence.
No, Daughter of
Famine.
Hatred. No, yeah, hatred.
Like did the Diablo universe like follow like the whole like War, Pestilence, Famine, and
No.
No. Okay, then
Pestilence I don't think is in there. Yeah, there was hatred, because Lilith is the daughter of hatred, and hatred is one of the lords. Diablo was destruction, and then there was a third one I can't remember, possibly a fourth I don't remember, but I think there was 3 only. But anyways, but yeah, what lord are we on to this point? I don't remember. So maybe hatred, because his daughter died. Maybe he's. I mean, it looked hateful, so maybe. Anyways. I'll be interested in looking at this one. This one comes out October this year, so look forward to that. Doesn't give a specific date, but I mean, with this kind of thing, it feels fitting to have a Diablo game release, or Diablo expansion in this case, release in October. I mean, Diablo, come on. Which brings us to the next big topic item of the list. We're covering a lot of them, but there are a lot of good ones here. In fairness, we'll start skipping some once we get to the later end. Fable. This one didn't have much said to it either. We have a date, 2025, and here's okay. Full disclosure: this is me spitballing conspiracy hat tinfoily nonsense. So take my words with an entire shaker's worth of salt. But I almost get the feeling that they're leaning towards a female-centric lead, which I wouldn't mind. Don't get me wrong. Like I've just praised South of Midnight, and it has a centric lead. We know that. What I'm really curious about the fact that they're doing this is just the fact they're having a central character at all, because if memory serves, granted I don't really play the Fable games, Fable was very much traditional RPG make your own character type shtick. So the fact they're actually having an actual main character is weird. Again, this is just me spitballing. Nothing has been confirmed. It's just the fact that we've seen, I think, this female character before in previous trailers. She makes a big appearance again as presumably the protagonist of this trailer. Granted, no name is given to said female characters, so it might just be a stand-in for the protagonist. I don't know. But it gives me that vibe. Maybe, like, let me know in the comment section. What do you think? Do you think this gives me the vibe that there's a female-centric lead, or just a central lead to begin with, which, like I said, would be a major departure from the Fable series, because, again, Fable is a make-your-own, create-your-own adventure type thing, so having a central character would kind of shoot that idea in the foot. But anyways, that's just all we know. Like I said, 2025, or that's just all I'm thinking. All we know, like I said officially, is that it's coming out in 2025 sometime.
Some point.
Boy. I'm gonna dread putting this one in. Frag Punk, I think I'm pronouncing that right. A card-based arena shooter. Oh boy. As if we need another arena shooter in this genre. In fairness, they're doing like card-based powers and stuff like that to shake it up, but I don't know. Every time I hear arena shooter, I just see the executives salivating, and it's not for good reasons. Let's be frank. Most arena shooters, and this is just me speaking extremely jaded, I confess, is they're just made to cash in on microtransaction nonsense. They really are.
He feels the iBot Duraframe project isn't
That's just me being
advancing
jaded,
quickly
though.
enough.
Anyways, moving on.
Yes.
No date for that one confirmed yet, though. Mixtape. This one's weird because this is the first one in the entire showcase that GameSpot actually had to mute in their coverage of the showcase for copyright reasons. Now, granted, that makes sense because if you look at the people involved in Mixtape, surprisingly, they are music creators and I think, artists and singers and stuff like that. Which, why am I not surprised? Well, for those who aren't aware, the music industry is notoriously possessive of their soundtracks. If you even sniff their soundtracks the wrong way, they will copyright strike you into oblivion and then sue you for everything you're worth because you even breathed their song the wrong way. Producers are just like that. Hollywood is a very dangerous place. But anyways. So yeah, that one had to get muted for copyright reasons. So I get it. Looks interesting.
It makes sense in a lot of specific regards because the industry as a whole will shut you down as soon as they take a whiff.
Yeah, the music industry is a terrifying, scary, scary place. 2025 for this one. So yeah, Flight Simulator 2024 is coming out. Enough said. Moving on. ESO 10th anniversary. Oh boy. They had another one that had to get muted, which is where we start getting into the why are they muting these things? I don't know why ESO has copyright claimable music. It's Xbox's bloody game now because they own ZeniMax, which owns Bethesda, which owns Elder Scrolls, which owns ESO. So, I don't know. It just feels weird. But anyways, 10th anniversary. Apparently they're celebrating it by letting you play all the DLC for free for a limited time, which is good, I guess, because if you know ESO like I do, because I'm a player of ESO, yes, I'm sorry for me too, you know that the DLC is very expensive, and it is very expansive.
Yes.
To the point where it is extremely costly to keep up with this game. And there are literal guides of what to pick and choose of the expansions available to get to have the best experience. That is how ludicrous it is. I will just end by saying that there are two types of MMOs when it comes to cash grabs. You have the pay to wins. Well, you have the gotchas, but that's a whole other ballpark. You have the almost the Korean types, so to speak, which are the pay to wins, massive cash shops. You can buy stuff that can break the game with enough money where you don't have to pay, but if you don't, you're gonna get your teeth kicked in by anyone who did. And then you have what ESO is pulling, which is basically soft Destiny, to the point where Destiny, you think they have a lot of stuff, you think they've got a lot of expansions, you think you gotta sit there and be like, do I want this, or do I want this, or do I want this? No. You haven't even seen ESO yet.
You haven't seen the beginning of the end.
They have more than a dozen DLCs between dungeons and levels and everything else. Yeah, it's a mess. And they're not cheap. Wouldn't be so bad if they're like 99 cents only, but no. They're like 25 bucks a pop or something like that. It's pretty ludicrous. So the fact they're letting you play it for a limited time only almost makes you feel like they're addressing it in the most sarcastic way possible. Anyways, Life is Strange. As for the 10th anniversary, free, assumingly right now, because it has like Golden Road in it, which I believe is out right now. So yeah. Moving on, Life is Strange, Double Exposure. We covered Life is Strange, won't really talk about it. October 29th, 2024. If you're interested, Life is Strange is strange. It's what it is. Gonna go over Indiana Jones: The Great Circle. It's Indiana Jones. Mech Breaker. Or I'm just gonna randomly just knock off ones here. Indiana Jones: Great Circle, 2024. Mecha Breaker, 2025. Wuchang, Fallen Feathers, 2025. That looks interesting. Avowed. Avowed is finally getting release date, kind of. 2024. Kind of. In this year.
Don't worry about it.
Funny that they haven't even told us when this year. Atom Fall, which... Sure. 2025. AC Shadows. I'm not going to talk about the Assassin's Creed Shadows, because that's a whole video in and of itself. Yes, I know there's conspiracy. Yes, I've heard about the Yusuke thing. But I will remind you, he was a historical figure. But I'm not going to get into this, because this is not this video for that. So, November 15th, 2024, if you're interested. Moving on. Stalker 2. You want to stake this one?
The Stalker franchise as a whole has been something slowly being worked on by their developers and expanded, and they've been for quite a while wanting to go and allow, like, basically upgrade their franchise, their games, and all that to have not only more to it but also more modern graphics and everything. So this was kind of to be expected over time with their game. It was bound to happen sooner or later. So yeah, but I don't know. It'll be interesting.
It's certainly interesting. I haven't really I haven't played the original Stalkers or the Stalker franchise. It looks good. I will say this about Stalker. The best way to describe it, especially from what I've seen from like an outsider looking in, think Exodus, but more paranormal freaky deaky shit. That's a pretty good expansion. Think Exodus, but with more freaky paranormal stuff. Yeah, that seems about right. This one's coming out. We do have an official date though, September 5th, 2024. On a bit of a topical level, may I just say that it is kind of funny that a game that has a very Russian feel to it is made by a Ukraine studio. Just thought I'd point that out. It's really funny. It's a topical joke, I admit, but I can have this one. But anyways, hope the war hasn't impacted them. Truly though.
Oh,
But moving on to the end of our list, finally. New consoles. So, Xbox concluded their showcase by saying, well, almost concluded their showcase by basically saying that they are releasing new types of consoles for the holiday this year. And before you start thinking, no, they are not Xbox Series X Plus Pro, whatever. They're just different versions of the same console in terms of hardware, just they have extra storage. In this case, they have two all whites, one of the Series X and one of the Series S. Weirdly, though, both of these are both digital only, which is weird because I thought the Series X was designed for disc, yet they're making it discless as well as the S. Anyways, the reason why they're special edition is not only because they're white, but because both of them are 1 terabyte in storage space, which, with modern gaming, you're gonna need it.
yep.
Trust me, I used to be a salesman for I used to be a sales representative for the game companies, Sony specifically. I always recommended to people to buy the disc version because,
You
yeah,
actually
memory's nothing.
physically own it.
Well, well, kind of. Well, again, but also due to the fact that memory is nothing to scoff at. Even in the modern age of gaming, having a disc to offset the download size is extremely valuable.
And
trust
another
me, in modern
thing
gaming,
is a lot of games now are making it so that you have to have an online connection, especially ones that really don't need an online connection. So
we're getting into the weeds here.
yeah, so it's a more common thing to find with games where you're doing it online and you're downloading it that way and all that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that can be a whole video in and of itself. But anyways, moving on. So those two are both 1 terabyte. Like I said, weird because the X is supposed to be the disc version, but they're both digital. That said, don't fear my disc-based brethren, because there is also a nice special edition X version coming to market, which is a nice black and green, the colors of Xbox. This one is disc, and this one, my dear friends, is selling for 2 terabytes, so you get double the size, which you're going to need in modern gaming. I don't know what the prices are. I haven't seen them, but they're coming to market in the holiday season, so keep an eye out for that. Maybe pre-order them now before later. This feels like this is like something that companies are pushing because, interestingly enough, back when PlayStation did their thing, they ended up by saying that they also had a discount running on their PlayStation 5. I think both the disc and discless version, though I might be wrong, basically going down from $5.99 to about $5.09 or something like that. Might be a bit off of those pricings, but around thereabouts or something like that. So just around just around $500 even, which makes sense because people are starting to finally get into the next generation of consoles. It only took us about like 4 flipping years, which is why I always scoff somewhat when people say the next generation of consoles is inbound, despite the fact we never really had a chance to enjoy this generation. But again, topic for another video. I will digress. But anyways, those are coming to market. Look out for those. And finally to end off the showcase, God of War. Blah. Where the heck did that come from? Gears of War E-Day. I'm not going to say too much about this, chiefly because we only get a cinematic, no release date. Gears of War E-Day. For those who don't know Gears of War lore, because this title is also somewhat of a reference, E-Day is actually the original day when the enemy faction that invaded the COG homeworld invaded. Well, came up from underground. They were always kind of there, so I hate to say invaded. But, yeah. And it's a prequel to all the games that we've already played in the series, so this is still when Marcus Phoenix was still young, the war had only just started, and funny enough, the actual trailer ends with us seeing, like, the planet of the COG before the planet was blown into oblivion, because for those who don't know, the giant bloody death lasers that they created to fight the enemy, yeah, they kind of also blew entire cities to bits, so there really wasn't much of the COG homeworld left come the Gears of War 4 and 5 games. That's kind of the whole plot of those games. They're rebuilding with these like mechanized cities to speed up development. Because again, the old cities kinda got leveled. It'll be interesting to see because like I said, this takes place back when they first invaded. It's weird because we know the plot of these characters. We know why they invaded. It had to do with the Lambent and the Queen and blah, 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 blah. And there's some weird, sketchy stuff going on. But anyways, no date for that. No, nothing confirmed. Just that it is a thing. Look more into that if you're interested. So, that brings us to the end of our Xbox showcase. What's the time, Justin?
We are at 41.
Good! I like that. That's a good number. So I'll end it here, unless you have any closing thoughts.
No, I don't have any closing thoughts. There's a pretty open going lineup for a lot of different games for that are for a lot of different people, and a lot to look forward to for everyone's little niche.
Indeed. Big list, big stuff to look at. Look at it all. Look at some of it. I don't know. I don't care. All in the list in the description below. But let us know. This I do care about. What did you think of the showcase? Did you find it good? Did you find it bad? What did you think of the games? Are you as shocked as I am that some of these games are even getting new games? Like I said, I did not see like the new Gears of War, and well, I haven't been in the World of Warcraft space, so I'm not too sure what the what the schedule for those delays are, or DLCs and stuff like that. So what do you know? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested. Yada yada yada, and of course, educate Justin on the storyline of that. You have my permission. Have a good day, everyone. Have a good week. Have a good summer. Whatever. See you all next video. Bye bye now.